It was always our dream since we were kids to have a big dog. When we grew up, it became difficult juggling our jobs and our home with achieving this dream. While we already had a small dog and 2 cats in our suburban townhouse, we didn't want to acquire a big dog unless we could be sure we could provide him or her with a great life. We also wanted to own our own farm, a homestead, where we could live more sustainably and provide an amazing life for a big dog. Fast forward to early 2022. We were still living in the suburbs, but had already sealed an offer on a 10-acre property that we would be moving into in November 2022. We had done our research and thought that a St. Bernard would be the perfect breed for us. We wanted a large dog that could deter predators from our chicken coop, but also a dog with a low prey drive that wouldn't be inclined to chase our farm animals, as well as a dog that could handle our cold Canadian winters. And since we both work full-time jobs outside the hobby farm and have many other responsibilities, we knew we wouldn't be able to work and exercise the dog for many hours every day, so a lower energy breed would be preferred. We had looked into livestock guardian breeds like the Great Pyrenees, but many of them use barking as the main method of deterring predators. And although our 10-acre farm is large, it is rather narrow and our neighbors are very close to us. We didn't want a dog that would be inclined to bark all night. We also wanted a dog that would be friendly with people and children. The St. Bernard, renowned for saving people from avalanches, while also being a low-energy breed, had all the qualities we were looking for. And so in spring 2022, we began the process of getting our farm dog by visiting 3 St. Bernard breeders.
So we are on our way now to St. Bernard, Quebec, St. Bernard de Beauce, Quebec, which is where there is actually, ironically enough, a St. Bernard breeder that we're going to be visiting to just meet their dog, see their establishment, and decide if we are comfortable with that breeder and if we would like to put down a deposit for a puppy. We are super, super excited. We're going to be visiting a couple different breeders over the next couple months, and then we'll be making a decision as to which breeder to put a deposit with. It's really important to us to get a farm dog that can, be large and, somewhat protective. I want to feel a bit safer around the property, and I think a large dog will help that. But at the same time, we want it to be friendly with strangers since we'll have our bed and breakfast on the property. And we want it to be friendly with children since we have a lot of children in our lives, a lot of nephews and nieces. And in general, we just did a lot of research and we felt the St. Bernard breed might be good for us. But we're going to find out more today at the breeder, where we can ask a lot more specific questions from someone who's an expert and who's been breeding St. Bernards for over 30 years.
And it wasn't a decision we made out of a blue here. We actually did discuss it for a while in research. As it turns out, the St. Bernard as a breed, not very available. Not a lot of people are breeding them. That's why today we're actually driving 4.5 hours to go visit the kennel.
Just came back from the first breeder, and unfortunately we were not able to record any footage during that visit. I really wish we had been able to because the dogs are just beautiful. We'll call her breeder 1, and we saw her St. Bernards, and her dogs are absolutely beautiful. Really, really love the look of her dogs. We got to see the long-haired and the short-haired St. Bernard, and so we think we prefer the long-haired.
We won't name these places we're going to because we're not sponsored, nor do we want to either sour or mug their business there. But this, I can tell you one thing: breeder number 1 had a state-of-the-art facility for this. Truly is a professional. I mean, the establishment for where I saw just 8 St. Bernards inside, they all had a beautiful, extremely clean kennel. Large spaces for each one of them. Each have a private access to an outdoor area, large outdoor area too. They had groomers on site that I guess they hire. They come 3 times a week to brush them. They have another guy who's on site to train them, and another one to walk. They obviously are, like I said, super professional what they're doing. They send the X-rays of the parents of the dogs before you get them to a place called the OFA. I guess in the States, it's a standardized veterinarian practice that verifies whether or not genetically your dog will have the hip dysplasia or not. Naturally, the dogs are so much more expensive there. I mean, breeder number 2 that we're going to go visit, his prices are quite literally half. But are his standards good enough? It's all a risk proportion, so we'll see. We're still studying and evaluating what we're doing here.
Temperament is key for us, and also health. We want the breeder, this is a breed that can be unhealthy. They have a few different health problems, and so health should be really important to the breeder, and they should be doing everything they can to reduce the health problems. You can never put that risk to zero, but we do want it, as much as possible, the breeder to be trying to reduce that risk. And so that's really important to us. And then, of course, the last kind of consideration is the look of the dog. We'll just see how these different dogs look between breeders. But all three are very reputable. They all show their dogs. They all seem to be very good breeders. But, visiting their facility will really give us that final perspective. And so, yeah, we're really excited about how our first visit went. We are considering getting 2 puppies in the end, one at first and then maybe a second 6 to 12 months later. So that the first one can have a friend, but also so that we can focus on each puppy one at a time and potentially prevent littermate syndrome, which we've read about as well. So that's the plan. So it is possible we could get each puppy from a different breeder as well. We're not ruling that possibility out. And so, yeah. So we just visited the second breeder, and it was just so much fun to see his beautiful, beautiful dogs. My absolute favorite was this one dog named Newton. Just absolutely stunning, gorgeous, long-haired male Saint Bernard, just absolutely beautiful. But all his dogs were just really, really sweet and friendly. They just came up to us and wanted to get snuggled and hugged, and they're just the sweetest, sweetest dogs with people. And so it's just super exciting to see that and see how friendly they are with us, who are complete strangers coming on their territory. So that is really, really important to us, the temperament. And this guy, it really seems like his dogs are going to have a good temperament.
To tell you the truth, he didn't have that state-of-the-art facility in the first place, breeder number 1 that we went to. Breeder number 1 obviously does this to be professional and do it for a living, obviously. Breeder number 2, it's out of pure love of the game. It's for love of the game only. We actually sat down with him for over an hour with a list of questions, and he loved nothing more than answering and going to another question. You know what I mean? We learned a lot from him, and he said probably one of the most important things to me in the end, because I thought he was very honest about everything about the breed, how he operates and all that. He said, listen, you pick a dog where you feel the best for it, but always know that no hard feelings. That you don't go with me, that's fine, but you can always come to me and I'll always be happy to answer questions for it. So I'll give you an example of some of those questions. Common medical problems with the Saint Bernard, right? The hip dysplasia. We had a lot of questions on that. Statistically, how often do you have to treat it? What are the best practices to stop it? Anyways, all that thing. The kind of food eating habits, recommendation for the growth, how to socialize that dog properly. We had a lot of questions. He was happy to answer. So those are the kind of questions we ran through.
Yeah, we really liked the second breeder, just in terms of his personality, how kind-hearted he was, how passionate he was. He's been doing this for over 30 years, breeding Saint Bernards, and he's just so passionate. He loves it. He loves the breed, and he knew so much about them, and he was just willing to sit with us for endlessly to answer our questions. I guess we still haven't really made a choice. We're going to still see the third breeder and see how we feel. And this third breeder has some puppies actually on site, so we're really, really excited to meet those puppies, and we'll show that footage as well. We are hoping it'll be friendly with dogs. It sounds like the Saint Bernard breed in general is not guaranteed to be friendly with other dogs. They are okay. They might be indifferent to other dogs on neutral ground or at a dog park. They're okay with other dogs.
It requires training. It requires a lot of training.
But, in terms of a dog coming onto their territory, onto their home property, they might be a bit territorial. And so that is something we might need to work on with any puppy we get. We might have to have a lot of strange dogs come to visit a lot when the puppy's little, so that we can socialize it and teach it that dogs coming onto the property are not a bad thing, not something they have to get really aggressive about or defend about. Even if we do that, I don't know if it's guaranteed we would necessarily end up with a dog that is okay with strange dogs coming on the property, but we would at least put in our best effort and try. And if we are not successful, then we would have to just keep our dog away from other dogs on our property. That would not be ideal, but it might, that's something we have to be realistic about and think about, because this is a breed that can at times be territorial with other dogs.
Visiting the third breeder was extra special because she had a litter of puppies on site. The puppies were so cute. Her dogs, like the first and second breeders, are European line Saint Bernards, meaning the original unchanged Saint Bernard from history that was used to save people caught in avalanches. These dogs are extremely large, powerful, and beautiful dogs. And there is no American Saint Bernard bred into them. American St. Bernards are also incredible dogs, but they have been bred a bit away from the original standard to be 2 to 5 inches smaller, and they can have a tighter lip, so less drooling. After visiting the 3 breeders, we asked to be put on the wait list of breeders 2 and 3. Fast forward 14 months to June 2023. We receive an email from a 4th breeder we never visited, who knows the other 3 breeders, saying he has 2 puppies available now if we are interested. At first, we were a little hesitant. We didn't know this breeder. We hadn't seen his facility. And why would he suddenly have 2 puppies available when, with these other breeders, we are on their very long wait lists, still waiting for a puppy? We decided to call the 2nd breeder we visited to seek his opinion and judgment. He reassured us that the 4th breeder is very well known in the St. Bernard community, very well known in the dog showing world, and has very well bred and high quality St. Bernards. He recommended him and his dogs, even if it meant we got our puppy from the 4th breeder instead of from him. Though he did tell us that his dogs are the American St. Bernards, not the original European line. So if we wanted a dog from the original lines, which are larger, then we would need to keep waiting for one of his dogs. We then did a video call with the 4th breeder to tour his home virtually, see his dogs, and to ask him questions. His home was super clean. The puppies also looked incredibly healthy, friendly, and happy. And he was very knowledgeable about the breed, having bred St. Bernards for 30 years, just like breeder 2. He explained also that he had a buyer fall through on one of the puppies he has available due to that buyer's own personal health circumstances. So suddenly, this 12-week-old puppy needed a home. He also explained that the 2nd puppy he had available, he had intended to keep himself as a show dog and potential future breeder. But as the puppy grew, he noticed it didn't have all the show qualities he had hoped for and decided at 12 weeks old to sell it instead to a loving home. While we were still on the 2 waitlists of the other breeders, we had already begun living on our 10-acre farm for 6 months and were nervously watching as a fox kept circling our fence, trying to get to our chickens. We had not had a predator attack yet, but after seeing the fox a couple times and even a coyote run across our back field, as well as other predators like raccoons and hawks, we were growing increasingly nervous for the safety of our chickens. The 2 original breeders we were waitlisted with likely wouldn't have a puppy for us for another 6 months or even until 2024. We didn't think we had the luxury of waiting another half year or year. And so after further reflection and discussions with the breeders, we agreed to drive and meet the 2 puppies available with breeder number 4 a few days later.
We are on our way, amazingly, to finally be getting our St. Bernard puppy.
A year and a half ago, if you remember, we made this exact same trip to go visit different breeders to see what we're comfortable with. And we finally put ourselves on a list for a St. Bernard puppy. Now, this will be the protector of our chickens. It'll be our farm dog. Great addition. Couldn't wait for this moment.
We're so excited. We've waited over a year, and finally there's a puppy available for us. We haven't met the puppy ever, so we're going now to meet and buy the puppy at the same time.
We also brought little Bambi along the ride so she can make her introductions herself.
That's right. There's little Bambi in her in her crate, and we have a 2nd crate for the big St. Bernard puppy, so that it'll be safe traveling home with both of them. We're going to actually be documenting how we train our St. Bernard puppy on the YouTube channel. So if that interests you, remember to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
That's right. Well, who do we got here?
Our little puppy, our humongous puppy, actually.
He's a male, 12 weeks old. Does he have a name yet?
Well, what were we thinking, honey?
We gotta think. We got a 3-hour drive back, so we'll have time to.
Yes.
We have ideas, but we'll conclude it.
Oh my god, he's so perfect.
Hey, Bambi, you got a brother now.
Bambi's got a brother.
Oh, she's putting her face down at the back.
She's not thrilled.
That's okay.
Aww,
So calm.
He's so calm.
All right, let's start this journey.
And that is how we ended up with our beloved long-haired American St. Bernard, Moose. If you enjoyed this video, check out this next video here, where we talk all about how we trained our St. Bernard puppy.